So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Planetary Navamsa series. And today we're going to be covering Saturn in the fifth house of your Navamsa chart. And what happens when Saturn is in the fifth house of your D9 Navamsa chart, which is one of the most important charts in Vedic astrology. It is the path of the soul. It shows the strength of your planets. It shows the life after marriage, shows who you become as an adult. And strangely enough, I just today started my Navamsa lesson in my academy, Magha Vedic Astrology Academy, whose link is right here. So I'm going to go into some deep stuff in the Navamsa thing, because the thing is, when you're learning astrology, you gotta take the good, bad, and the ugly. And usually, as you know, on this public form of YouTube, I don't really like to talk about a lot of negative things because you don't know how you're affecting people. But when you're learning Jyotish, I had to learn the ugly too. So I'm teaching everything about the Navamsa and all the other divisional charts, in this academy. And if you do not know how your Navamsa chart is, what planets are in your Navamsa chart, check out the links here. Check out my full astrological report under the shop section at astrologycares.com and option 5 and beyond. Okay. So let's start with Saturn in the fifth house of the Navamsa. So the fifth house of the Navamsa is known as the house of intelligence. Okay. And shows the intelligence that you use in marriage. It shows the romance of the marriage. Because look, even though we know marriage is a dull thing, sometimes we see the house of marriage flourishing always. The couple is in love all the time. They feel like they just met each other yesterday. Well, that really is seen with this fifth house presence. Fifth house represents not just intelligence, but your good karma from past life regarding marriage. So fifth house in general represents overall good karmas, and benefic in the main birth chart in the fifth house always tend to give good karmas. With Navamsa, it becomes specifically good karmas related to the marriage itself. Okay. And if there's good karma in the birth chart and really bad in a Navamsa, it will neutralize that situation. So with this particular Saturn, first of all, obviously Saturn, as you know, is a very dry planet. It's a very airy planet, and it's a planet of responsibility, duty, commitments. Okay, it's a planet that kind of rebels against the authority. It is a planet which is slow. Okay, and it's conservative, orthodox, opinionated. It can become quite critical. So as you see, when it's in the fifth house, the romantic life will dull down due to the responsibility that will be upon you. Meaning, right from the get-go, you may have both, as a husband and wife, will have responsibility of paying the bills, paying the mortgage. Suddenly you can get pregnant and now you both have to raise children right away. And it kind of kills that romance. And when you do try to find those gaps in time, those spaces in time to spend together, they're probably going to be, again, brought on by talks of responsibility, talks of what needs to be done. So it's like having a fun date night becomes quite a hard task. But here's the thing, because this is your Navamsa, regardless of if you're a female or a male, when things go wrong in the marriage, you're very slow to react. You don't know why do I need to, make things better? Why do I have to do it? What's the reason? I don't even think there's anything wrong. It dulls down the intelligence to deal with what marriage is. Because a person is so busy in their responsibility and duty or commitment and working hard that they don't even realize what is right, what is wrong. I didn't do anything. I'm not going to waste my time trying to take care of this. Just get up and do it. Like, you know, get off your ass and just suck it up. And so it shows that lack of intelligence, because intelligence is not like intelligent, like you're intelligent. You could be a PhD with this Saturn. But the thing is, you lack the romantic gene, like how, let's say, a player like LeBron James lacks that clutch gene. Okay. He passes the ball at the very end. Rarely he wants to take those shots. Where you had Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, clutch gene is there. It's the same thing. You're a great person, you're educated, well educated, but when it comes to dealing with the things of the marriage, yeah, you become dull. And definitely with this Saturn, it will cause issues in the marriage. It will cause issues in the marriage if you do not put forth the effort. Some people do not put the effort in even when it's required, yet they're still able to steer things. But with this placement, effort is going to be required of you, and action will be required of you. Using your romantic intelligence will be required of you. If you don't, then yes, of course, it's not going to work out. And also one thing I noticed with Saturn in the 5th house, that anytime you hire a maid, somebody to clean your house, do your dishes, whenever they have issues with their hands, like they get a cut in their hand, they have a burn in their hand while cooking for you, their hands are in pain, your marriage will suffer during that time. The other thing we also see is that not only your intelligence, but the thing is, your spouse themselves will not react to your lack of intelligence. They themselves may not show it to you that, look, you don't know how to deal with this marriage. They'll be quiet themselves, and they'll keep building those things. One thing we also see, that spouse will definitely have either some injury to the knee or ankle, maybe playing some sport, so they may limp a little bit, maybe in like their middle age, older age. And the spouse will also have gray hairs very quickly. Spouse may actually have long hair, especially if you're a male. Your spouse will love having long hair, especially long dark hair. But their body will be quite slowed as the age progresses. The other thing we see is that with Saturn in the 5th house, you most definitely rise in the ranks in your work, your professional life. Your own health actually improves. Your own health improves. And you're able to even find recognition, especially if, let's say, you're in politics. You're in, going to corporate conferences, you'll be in front of people. But definitely some of the political nature is there with this particular Saturn. And usually with Saturn in the 5th house, a person is always interested in either geology, geography, history, mechanics, mechanical engineering. And if, let's say, in Navamsa, Jupiter aspect Saturn, then law and sociology becomes a strong interest as well. The other thing we see is that your home, you definitely attain land and real estate with this particular Saturn. And you actually may be able to construct your home with this Saturn after marriage, especially if you have Mars in the 4th house, Saturn in the 5th house, or Mars aspects Saturn. But the biggest thing here Okay, and then also the other thing we see with Saturn in the fifth house, you will become very restricted in terms of your ability to uh, go into speculation, speculative gains, putting money in stock market. You become quite frugal. You become quite frugal, and you just want to save, save, save with the Saturn. Now, can it be different? Yes, it can be. If, let's say, Mercury is sitting with Saturn, especially if Mercury is exalted in Virgo in the fifth house, or Mercury aspects Saturn, Mercury will give very strategic and patient ability to invest in things, meaning you won't just waste money. You'll invest a small portion, but you will invest it in something that may actually give a good result. But of course, these are very camouflaged type predictions, which can be true with any divisional chart that I talk about. This is something you have to see with the timing more than anything else. You may have the best of the combinations for stock market, but if you're going through a bad period, that best combination is not going to do nothing, you know. So just keep in mind this particular part. But one thing, yes, just work on is your romance. Okay, romanticize your spouse, and it's going to sound like an effort. Now, if let's say you have Taurus rising in your fifth house, and Venus, Moon, Saturn are there, okay, you will be quite good at romance. You'll be very creative at romance, because then Saturn's hard work and ability will impregnate Moon, and will flirt with Venus. So these three planets can work together when it comes to creativity and actually taking action and doing the work that is required to do things. So you see how things get manipulated with other planets. But yes, this is a placement that does not give too much romantic inclination. And definitely after marriage. And before marriage, you may be a romantic, hopeless romantic. After marriage may be a different thing. Okay? So guys, this is my analysis of Saturn in the fifth house of Navamsa chart. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And if you want to know where your Saturn is placed, all your astrological details, check out the links here and check out my link to the Academy. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.